Well guys, here we are back in my truck again for another video. I hate making videos here in the truck. I don't know why, but I just do. But right now, it is absolutely impossible to make a video outdoors. I could, but I would get a whole lot of complaints about the audio quality because of all the cicadas that came out this year. It is deafening. It is horrendous. It is horrific, the sound, and these seem to be getting louder and louder every single day. I can hear these things in my house. That's how loud they are. It is horrible. It really, truly is, and I'll be glad when they are gone. You can probably hear, open the door here and you listen. Get the keys out. You hear that? I hear iron planting bugs. That's what that noise is, though. It is absolutely horrible. But anyways, guys, a lot of people seem to think that the whole point in living frugal, trying to save money, is about saving money. And it actually is. It is for some people, but for me, that's not what it's about. It's not about putting back, more currency, about saving currency to put back. It's about saving. That way, I have to work and worry about money less. I can do what I want to do. I like to work around my house here. I like to work in my garden, things like that. I like to walk. I like to hike. I like to do things like that. But as far as always trying to make a dollar doing things I don't want to do, I'm not being frugal to save money so I can work more. I'm being more frugal so I can not spend as much. So if I spend less, I have to make less. And to me, that's the whole point of, being frugal or saving money. If I can go on if I can go into a secondhand shop and I can buy something for $5 that's just as good as new, and I can buy something new that was the same thing that was $20, I'm saving 15 bucks. So that's $15 that I don't have to work out. I can take that time I'd work for that $15 to do something else. I can work in my garden. I can take a walk. I can go visit people that I like to talk to. I can go see, my mom. I can work on projects here at my house. I can do anything else that I actually want to do instead of having to take my time and work, an hour or two to make that $15. So it's about freedom and about having, more time. It's not about saving currency. At least that's not what it is for me a lot. So some people just like that. They will starve. They will live in poverty and work, and put that currency in the bank. Put those paper notes in the bank, those IOUs, those Jones notes in the bank. And thinking they are building wealth when they really aren't. They're actually just working their life away. They're spending all their time working to make paper notes, to get paper notes from the government. Those Jones notes, if you watch the Jones Plantation movie, you know what I'm talking about. But those U.S. Reserve notes, they keep losing value all the time. If you look back at what you could buy with $10,000 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you can see how much that currency is losing value. So you're just working yourself to death to put that currency, in the bank or under your mattress, thinking you're building wealth. It's not the case. It's definitely not the case. And you can take that money and invest it in something. You can put it in gold and silver, not financial advice, just common sense in my opinion. You can put it in land and things like that if you want to. And that is one way to do it. You can build wealth, that way, actual wealth. But it's not really, to me, it's not really all that important. If you have a decent house to live in, that's comfortable, that's warm in the wintertime, cool in the summertime, where you're comfortable, where you have, a nice bed to get in, if you have a shower, a bathtub, something to cook on, you can live a good life in just a regular small home, a tiny home for that matter. That's perfectly fine. If you're comfortable in that, that's what's important, is to be comfortable. Not putting back currency. It doesn't make any sense to me stockpiling currency. You're going to stockpile a bunch of currency. You're going to work yourself to death. You're going to take your whole life that you have. You only have so many hours, so many days, so many minutes, so many seconds in this life. And you're going to spend all that, or a large majority of it, or a large portion of it, working, trying to earn more currency notes. Putting those back, work, put those back. And then you're dead. Someone else gets it. And when they get it, it's actually lost a lot of value in what it has. If it's going to have any value at all by the time, that you actually pass away and they get that currency they find under your mattress or in your bank account. You're working your life away, working yourself to death for those notes. And a lot of people will also work to earn more money so they can spend more. They're not saving, they're not investing, they're working so they can spend more. They're working so they can be in more debt, because if you earn more money, on paper, you can take that to your bank and you can borrow more money. If you have more collateral, you can borrow money on your home and things like that. But if you make more and you show you can pay the payments of what you're earning, you can borrow money at the bank. You can buy things with credit. So people do that, and they will spend every dime they make and then more, because they're having to pay off debt. They're getting credit and paying off debt. And they get things they don't really need. They will get a nice fancy bass boat, for example. I love fishing. But you can get, a nice used boat and other new ones you go in debt for and save thousands of dollars. If you're going to fish mostly in, smaller lakes and things like that, you can get a John boat and use that. I mean, you don't have to have, a big fancy boat. You don't have to have a big fancy houseboat. You don't have to have all this stuff. It's nice to show off and nice for people to look at and say, wow, look at that guy, he's so wealthy, and not realize that guy's in debt and he's having to worry constantly about making money. By hook, crook, work, however he can make that money, he has to worry about making that. Or if he was frugal, he could have a lot of his life back. He could live more simply. He could spend less. So he has to worry about making money even less. But most people, especially in this consumer society here in the United States, this country's economy runs on consumerism. Buy, debt. And if you have someone that makes $35,000 a year, most people will spend $45,000, $50,000 a year by the time they go in debt and everything, it seems. They will spend at least the maximum of what they make. If they make it, they spend it. If another person makes $150,000 a year, if they make it, they will spend it. They will spend to the maximum that they're making. And they will actually go in debt to spend more because they want to put on a front. They want to spend. They don't want to cut back. They don't want to buy secondhand. They don't want to stop caring about what their neighbors think or about what Tom, Dick, and Harry over here thinks about them. That's not important. It isn't to me, but it is to a lot of people. So they want to work, worry themselves to death about money, get into crime and everything else to make money, to impress, other people. That's what it boils down to. People don't want to save. I mean, like I said before, save on what you buy, so you have to work less. So you have more of your time, you save more of your life. You get to take more of your life back instead of spending all your life working and thinking about money all the time and trying to come up with schemes, trying to come up with more hours to work, more hours in a day to put more labor forward to get more money in to pay all these bills and to buy all these trinkets. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. When you could simply do without a lot of these things, buy secondhand, figure out how you can spend less, you can live more simply, and you can take more of your life back. Like I said, you only have so many hours here in your lifetime. So many days, so many hours, so many seconds. And one day, we're all going to be dead. And if you focus on work, so you can have more trinkets and more things to show your neighbors and to brag about, your life's going to be gone. You're going to spend that life working at your job, working in a business, working for a business, working in a factory, working for the government or whatever. You're going to work as much as you can, try to make as much money as you can, work as many hours as you can, and you're still trying to make ends meet because you spend way too much. So you're trying to figure out constantly, worried about debt. You lay in bed, lose sleep, worried about how you're going to pay your bills. You may lose your home, you may lose your car, you may lose your wife. You may lose everything because you lose your job. You have to be obedient to the employer. You have to be obedient, to the banks, because you have to keep that job, because you have to pay all those bills and all those debts. Because if you don't, you'll lose everything. When you could have lived more simply. You could have chosen a smaller home, cheaper to heat, cheaper to cool. I'm a prime example of that. I have this house here that has 2 stories, and the whole thing is like 3,000 square feet if you count the top and the bottom. Way too big. That's before I learned to be more frugal. I was making good money at the time. I was making over $100,000 a year at that time. And that was a lot of money. It's decent money now, but back then it was a lot of money. And I got this big house. Didn't need it, but I got it. And it costs us more to heat. It costs us more to cool. It's a pain in the ass to keep up. It's a pain in the ass to keep clean because it's so big. Didn't need it. But, I had the money coming in, so like a dumbass, I bought this house because I thought I wanted it at the time. If I could go back, I wouldn't buy this house. And if something comes up that is smaller, has more land, better land, I would sell this place in a heartbeat to a family that needs a bigger house maybe, and buy something, smaller, and put like a new single wide mobile home on that, a 2-bedroom mobile home, put it on that land. I'd be a lot better off because I'll save money in the long run. And, I could sell this for more than I gave for it, and probably have more money left over out of this after I bought land, in a new single wide trailer to put on that, more than likely. So I could use that money for something else. It's just it's easy to get into a financial mess. It's paid for, I have everything paid for, completely debt free, and that's a good position to be in. But it does cost a lot of money for insurance and all that stuff like that. Gas, because of where it's at here, I have to drive a lot further to get to the places I want to go to, versus where I did it before, where I could be where I need to go to in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Here it's like 45-minute drive one way and back. So it's a lot more time gone out of my life just driving because of being down here. And it's bigger, so it costs us a lot more to heat, costs us a lot more to cool. It's a lot more output and money. And I could have stayed with something, smaller. But, like I was talking about in this video, I went and bought something big to, I don't know, I guess at the time, I don't know what I was thinking. At the time I was stupid, I think, when I did this. But it's a good house. It's a good solid house. It holds its value. It's actually went up in value according to the tax assessment. But I could have saved a lot of money over the years on gas, insurance, and things like that, and time. Like I said, all that time gone. You have to look at your life through the focus of the time you have in your life. So if you spend, like say I live here, and where I lived it before, that I sold actually, I could go where I want to go to, where I need to go pretty much most days. In 10, 15 minutes I could be there. Here, it's 45 minutes. So that's more time in my life gone, going and coming. As you can see, just driving, where I could have had that time to do something else. But instead, I spend that time driving back and forth when I do go anywhere. And it's just money. It really is. And like the utilities, you have to work more to pay more utilities because you have a bigger house. So try to figure how you can downsize, how you can save money so you can work less. That's the whole point in this video. Save so you can work less. Be frugal, not so you can save money to put under your mattress, but so you can work less and take your life back. That is what's important in my opinion, is taking your life back. Look at all this in terms of your life energy, your life hours that you have here on this earth. We have so many. We don't know how many. We can kind of guess, get a guesstimate, but me, I'm 52 years old. Who knows? Guys my age fall over dead all the time. It happens. And I know that more than likely, I don't have over 30 years I mean, it's possible to live to 100, over 100. I could have longer. I mean, I could live to be 104. It's a possibility, but not likely. So all the time I spend working, trying to earn money at jobs I absolutely hate doing, that's time of my life gone. Gone. I'll never get back. That's the way you should look at it. You should look at it as selling your life, selling your work energy, selling your life energy. You have to make a living. You have to be able to feed yourself. You have to be able to, clothe yourself and have a roof over your head. I'm not saying that. But if you can do it more frugally, more cheaply, and save, that's the less time you have to work. Look at everything you do as selling your life, selling your life energy, because it's gone. You go to your job and say you work 10, 12 hours. You're working that overtime. That's 10, 12 hours of your life that you'll never get back. You're there around people you usually don't like, doing a job you usually hate, putting up with bosses that are a bunch of pricks most all the time, especially factory work and things like that. Pretty much any job you get, you're in misery. You don't want to be there. You want to be somewhere else. You want to be fishing. You want to be sleeping. You want to be doing something besides being there. But you're there because you spend, and you've been told that you have to spend, you have to consume, you have to keep up with the Joneses, you have to do this, you have to do that. You have to have a new car every couple of years. You have to have, a bigger home. You have to get a bigger house than you had before. You have to get a bigger house than your friends from high school has. You have to get a bigger house than, a family member that you're in competition with has, because you want to look like you are doing better, you're doing well. But in reality, you're selling your life energy, and every day the energy gets less and less and less and less until one day you're dead. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.